Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell with your host KG and his co-host, the wrestling enthusiast Mark. What's up, man?
Not much.
So, welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. We will obviously be recapping of Wednesday Night Dynamite, but before we do, a couple of things here. One, I was supposed to be interviewing Josh Turner tonight, with the release tonight. But unfortunately, this is actually the second time in a row it got canceled. And the difficult thing about trying to schedule professional wrestlers is that because they're on the road, stuff happens. Now, the first time he canceled I think he has maybe a young kid, had to bring him to the hospital, was pretty sick. And then, of course, he has been on the road, and they're at the mercy of the road. Things happen. So this got put off tonight again. It's not his fault whatsoever. Again, these athletes are on the road, so shit happens. So hopefully I can get that rescheduled. But some big news regarding Ring the Damn Bell starting next week. For our Monday night recaps, we will have a new another co-host, a third co-host, and this co-host is none other than the wrestling legend Bob Cook. Bob Cook has wrestled WCW, WWE, amongst many other promotions. He has held many titles, and he's also wrestled against some of the uh, best legends there is in professional wrestling. Your Ric Flairs, and just to name one, and just quite a few others. So including, and I know you don't hear this name very often, but growing up, for whatever reason, okay, um, one of my top two favorite professional wrestlers was Mr. Wrestling number two. And you don't hear that name, you don't even hear people talking about it for whatever reason. I think that he was extremely um, uh, underrated. I don't know, as a kid, I loved him. But again, whenever I was 10, 11, 12 years old, you're watching professional wrestling um, through different glasses than what you do as an adult. But yeah, I love Mr. Wrestling number two, and that's one of the people that Bob Cook has wrestled. And look, just because Bob Cook will become our third co-host, he's kind of be our guest star co-host, really. It doesn't mean that he is not going to come on as one of my guests, because I don't want to waste the opportunity to be able to talk to someone like Bob Cook, who had so many years, great years within professional wrestling. And like I said, he's a legend. Uh, so yeah, I'm really excited about that. And look, I know a lot of people be asking, well, why do you need a third co-host? Why do you need a legendary professional wrestler as a co-host? Because you guys are just so amazing. I mean, you guys have, people that their computers can't handle all of the stuff when they're trying to subscribe, because you have so many subscribers. I mean, fuck, man. We have 37 subscribers. Exactly. You know, how many failed podcasts can say that they have 37, subscribers? Well, we can. So, but through all of the success and failures that we've had, Bob Cook will be a welcomed addition to Ring the Damn Bell. Now, Mark, you've always been my guy. You've been with me since day one. But because of Bob Cook, man, that much more important than you, man.
Thanks.
I'm going to have to take away one of your duties. I think Bob Cook from now on, and I apologize about this, don't get angry. Don't pull a Corey Graves. Bob Cook is going to be the guy. Bob Cook is going to be the guy that I think I'm going to have him say, "Bring the damn bell" at the end of the show.
Oh, I don't know, dude. That might be the straw that broke camel's back, dude. I after this wrap up, I'm gonna be on Twitter.
So yeah, like I said, we will be talking about the recap of Dynamite last night, and Dynamite. It was a decent show last night. There were some, some ups and some downs, which we'll talk about. But overall, I was pretty entertained watching it last night.
Dude, I like it better than Raw.
You know what? This is the exact fucking reason that Bob Cook is taking that position. That'll ring the damn bell for me right there.
Oh, I thought it was a really good show. So, anyways, you ready to start out?
Let's do it.
All right. So we start with Tony Schiavone in the ring. Will Allspray comes to the ring, and then shortly thereafter, Kenny Omega comes to the ring. Uh, Will explains that he can't take on Don Callis' group anymore by himself. He's looking for help. Now, initially, Kenny said pretty much "f off." I wouldn't trust you if I could. Um, but then Don Callis' group comes out.
So let's stop here for a second because I need viewers to really focus on something that happened here. You're right. Kenny Omega basically said, "I don't trust you. Fuck off. We will never be together." He reminded him of, "Look, you son of a bitch. You're the one that took a screwdriver to my head." And there's Will Ospreay. He's getting heated. You can see him walk away from him to the ropes, his face down, face turning red. He's getting pissed off. And then he walks really close to the mic and he goes to say something to Kenny
Will.
Omega. Now I'm thinking, obviously, because of his body language, his facial expression, that he's about to flip the fuck out on Kenny Omega. And I need you guys to remember this, okay? And then Don Callis' music hits. Take it away.
Yeah, so Kenny lights up the entranceway and starts pummeling Callis, and then all of a sudden Callis' group comes out. Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Lance Archer, and Cage come out, and it's just immediately for the next 4 or 5 minutes. All right, it eventually gets that Omega and Osprey get the upper hand. I don't know how when you're 2-on-1, but whatever. They climb, I don't know, some sort of lighting structure or something. And Kenny tosses out, well, first he says, "Yeah, I need an apology, but maybe to you." All right. What do you know? Yeah.
No, that did happen. But so what happened was that you mentioned about how they were able to take over. So now let's talk about the fight for a second. I actually liked it. They went backstage, they fought, kind of all over the back part of the arena. They made their way back into the crowd, and Kenny Omega then climbed up that lighting structure, and then we seen Osprey climb up to kind of on top of where the seating was at, and Kenny Omega and Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, fuck, they both did a backwards flip onto Don Callis' group. This is how they were able to gain control. And then this is whenever, both Kenny Omega, or yeah, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay climbed up uh, into the lights again. And this is when Kenny Omega says, "You were looking for an apology. Maybe I'm the one that should apologize." And this is why I wanted to kind of pause at the first part of this segment.
Yeah, I had the high risks moves in my notes. I just went off my notes, I guess, or went.
Yeah. And look, this is first when Kenny Omega said you want an apology. I don't know if Will Osprey was supposed to say you owe me an apology during that segment, and then he just didn't. He forgot to say it before Don Callis came out, or if Kenny Omega just kind of oopsed it by saying you want an apology, because Will Osprey never said I wanted an apology. Then Kenny Omega said, maybe I'm the one that should apologize. He cut a little bit of a promo. He then said that in Australia, it's going to be Omega and Osprey versus Don Callis' guys, Kyle Fletcher and Kaneshka, whatever. um, and this is why we need Bob Cook so he can pronounce these names for us. um, and they're kind of like, no, no, no. But this is where it fell short for me, right? All the rest was good, but there was one part that fell short for me that I was just kind of like, that ended a little stupid. And again, I'm just for myself. Everyone else that liked it, cool. I'm talking just about me now. You had such a heated exchange between the two in the first part of this segment. Kenny Omega bringing up things that actually happened. Osprey screwdriver to the head. And this isn't like this is the first time Don Callis's family has attacked Omega with Will Ospreay coming for the save. So for him to, after all these attacks, and after Will Ospreay constantly saving Kenny Omega's ass the past week or so, for him to still be so pissed off, and then they get attacked once again, and then now all of a sudden he wants to play kissy face with Will Ospreay and say, "Oh, I'm the one that's sorry." That just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The rest was good though. I can admit that is just me nitpicking, right? It really is, but it's
Yeah,
just something that fell short on me as far as that ending being like, holy shit. Because if it wouldn't have been for that, I would have been like, it still was really good, but I would have said this was, I would have absolutely said this is great with no complaints. That was just my one little thing with that particular segment. I think it's going to be a great match. So yeah.
this is why I'll never watch a movie with you that you've already seen because you'll spoil it. Oh, wait till the next part. Wait till the next part. Check this out. All right, because you are a nitpick little prick.
You
All
know
right,
what, Mark? You weren't the nice man. With Bob Cook coming, I really don't need you on Tuesdays.
I've been cheated on. I've been messed around with. Now I'm getting demoted and possibly fired. I don't know. All right. So it's and I don't think Kenny was looking for the apology from Will.
Right.
So all right. So anyways, I'm looking forward to this match. Um, all right. So next we go to a video clip of Pac. Just kind of hyping up Pac a little bit, showing his past and what he's accomplished. Uh, Not a whole lot of fanfare there. Then we go to John and Yuta. Basically, Mox will end Adam Cope's career. Um, Although I gotta say, Yuta looked kind of funny with his hair over his eyes.
Was it me or and maybe it was just a shirt he was wearing, but Uda, Jesus Christ. Um my mama
Wheeler,
blank.
Wheeler,
Willa Uda. He looked like he put on a little bit of size.
I think,
It could have just been the shirt.
yeah, he put on an extra small or something.
He saw the baby gap.
Well, I hope they don't come to Minnesota anytime soon because I don't need to knock on my door. All right, so next we go to the Hurt Syndicate to the ring versus Private Party. You know what? All I got to really say about this, it wasn't a squash match, but it should have been, is and new AEW Tag Team Champions. I was jacked. I was happy.
So look, yes, I am thrilled that the Hurt Syndicate um won the titles. This match went exactly like it should have, as far as it almost being a squash match. Uh, but let me say this about Private Party, and it has nothing to do with Hurt Syndicate. I really wish that they would have booked the Private Party to defend those titles a little bit more, to have some more wins, with the defending those titles, because when you have, and it doesn't matter if it's a solo, if it's a individual with a title or a tag team title, um, the more you defend those titles and the more wins that you have, then the more it means once you finally come across that person or that group, when they win those titles, when the champions get beat. I don't feel like we hardly seen any any title matches with Private Party. So although I love that the Hurt Syndicate won, I love the fact that they pretty much ran through them. I think that it would have meant more to the fans, or at least to me. I'll speak for myself. It would have meant more for me if those titles were titles that were defended and that we seen Private Party, just busting their ass, constantly defending those titles and winning those matches.
It brings more legitimacy to your tag team.
Exactly.
All right. But nonetheless, I was stoked. The double belly to belly suplexes were beautiful. I think these guys have great chemistry together. I'm talking Lashley and Benjamin. These guys.
Yeah, and go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. Go ahead.
You know, in my opinion, what a missed opportunity for WWE, because these guys, they do look great together. And when they're booked strong, like AEW is booking these guys, and they go in the ring, man, you can just tell how well they mesh together. And their matches are so much better than they were in WWE. And I think that is specifically because I think these guys are happier at AEW because I think they feel like they feel more appreciated, and I have to imagine that they feel like they are just that much more of the stars that they should be versus what they felt like when were with WWE. But there are so many great matches that WWE could have had with these guys, with all the tag teams, and they just squandered that opportunity.
Yeah, but that's not the first time WWE squandered their talent, and AEW for that matter. You know, um, I think when you say they're happier, I don't know if I'd say happier, but I'd say it's easier when you got less of a grind because WWE is a grind. All right.
Right.
Um, I think they get like 4 days off a month to be at home, basically. Maybe a little bit more now, but I know back in the late '80s and early '90s, it was just a grind completely.
Oh
And
yeah, they every day of the week, as Ric Flair said, 7 days a week, 2 times on Sundays, right? And that's what. Thank you for clarifying that. You read my mind. That's really what I was talking about. I think that they're happier in the sense that their bodies probably don't feel as beat up as they did with WWE. So therefore, they're putting on better matches. Not
well,
that their matches were bad at WWE by any means, right? But you could be great, but your body's beat up, and you finally get to have that rest. Well, now you're just that much more, better than what you were previously. Um, and yeah, I mean, you're right about WWE squandering. I mean, look, Shelton Benjamin was that go before, so was his tag team
I,
not Archer, Jesus, Bobby Lashley, which I can't imagine why any company would want to see these guys go away, because I know that they're up in age, but they are still performing, at the up here. I mean, it doesn't look like they've lost any steps with their age.
yeah,
And as much as I like Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin is the one that's my guy in that team. I love Bobby Lashley. Don't get me wrong, but Shelton Benjamin, man, I have to agree with JR said back during his WWE times with Shelton Benjamin that he is probably pound for pound the best pure athlete that has put on that's laced up a pair of boots.
yeah, that's a tough call for me, but yeah, he's definitely in the top five. to be honest, I mean, I got to go with Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle. I mean, and as much as it pains me, even Bret Hart, uh, but yeah, Benjamin is definitely
Yeah. You,
and
you,
for
yeah,
years.
yeah, and look, I don't disagree with you, right? But I think the difference between those guys and they were absolutely like the individuals you mentioned are 100% Mount Rushmore of wrestling worthy, right? No doubt whatsoever. I think the slight edge, though, that Shelton Benjamin has over those guys is that not only can Shelton Benjamin wrestle um, on the ground, on the mat, because look, he was an all-star amateur wrestler, so he has those skills, but he can also use those ropes better than what those other guys that you mentioned. How many times we've seen him just run up to the top rope?
Yeah,
How he's done things on. He doesn't use it as much as he used to, but he still has that capability of doing it, and I think that's what maybe gives him the edge, just slightly.
yeah.
As far as you know, just all around pure athlete.
The other thing I think, and from AEW to WWE, is WWE wants you to perform certain ways. Okay, and it's almost they put you in a cookie cutter position where they say we want this from you, not this. We want this, not this. Okay, and that's why a lot of these guys go to NXT to conform to what WWE wants. Okay, I don't think there's that as much constraint in AEW, so I think a wider base of moves maybe.
Right, and I agree with that. And I think there's both positives and negatives with that. With Penta, we've seen Penta now twice on WWE, both great matches. But if you notice, Penta is not using those high flying position moves like he would with AEW, which it's like that's what I liked about Penta. But on the flip side of that, and WWE knows this, and you got to give them credit for this by limiting that, if that's indeed what they're doing, I don't know for sure, but if that's what's happening, that they are limiting the amount of dangerous moves on those drops that you could do. What they're doing though is protecting their wrestlers by giving them that much more of a lifespan within professional wrestling, within that career, due to there are injuries that happen. I have to believe the danger level for an injury goes up that much more when you're using those ropes.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right, so next we go to Mariah May video, basically crying about facing Tony Storm. You know,
But you know
I
what? I actually liked it.
really,
I'm not saying that it was this amazing, career making video or interview, kind of like, that career making interview with Stone Cold and Michael PSAs. I'm not saying there was none of that, obviously, right? But at the same time, I didn't hate it. Mariah May is starting to grow on me more and more. So let's see what's going to happen with that.
man, I'm telling you, I'm grilling monsoon to you, Jesse. Man, I'm telling you because that interview just kind of lowered my desire to watch Mariah May, and she's a hell of a talent, but I'm tired of her whining. Saying I'm the best. I've beaten everybody. I don't have faith Tony because I've already beaten her. Blah blah. So no, it didn't do wonders for me.
This is coming from a guy who at one point used to really like CM Punk. He does the exact same type of promos, right? Um, what, and not to mention she's a fucking heel, Mark. What heel does not cut those type of promos?
I'll give you that. And as far as CM Punk, he's got more pizzazz when he cries about shit. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But he does it with finesse. All right, so next we go to an interview with Tony Storm, uh, getting pretty jacked and excited about her match coming up with Mariah May. And all of a sudden, Harley comes out. And I don't know. I thought they were going to make it a three-way there for a second. Um,
No, but look, and it was actually with not Tony. You said it was with Monet, right?
no, no, that comes up later.
Or does it?
Yeah,
Okay. Look, to Tony Storm. I've always been a fan of Tony Storm. Ever since I was first exposed to Tony Storm at the Triple H when he put on the May
a classic.
yeah, the May Classics, right? I've been a fan of hers ever since. She's a really good wrestler. What I'm not a fan of is her gimmick right now because I think that she is so much better than what they are booking her as far as her gimmick. I don't think Tony Storm needs a gimmick. I think that she needs to go back to being booked as this bad bitch that proves herself in the ring. All of this crap that they keep on putting her in, I get it that the crowd loved the black and white character, whatever the name of it was. I didn't like it. Was that
Timeless Tony Storm.
yeah, Timeless Tony Storm? There were some funny things. Don't get me wrong, and it did show her ability to be able to act, I guess, for that particular gimmick. But again, I Tony Storm is good just being Tony Storm. And I just think that she's way better than what they're booking her as far as gimmick wise.
I don't like it because she's playing clueless, and I don't care for that.
Yeah,
As
I agree.
far as her ability, yeah, Tony Storm's you know great, awesome. All right,
Yeah,
but I disagree. She needs something to carry her a little bit over the edge. And the timeless Tony Storm, liked it, hate it, whatever. It was probably the most unique gimmick I've seen in years.
it was, and that's what I said. The fans loved it. Just for me, I didn't like it. And I'll tell you what, um, you know, Tony Storm for this gimmick. Every time I watch this gimmick with her being clueless and kind of that airhead, it makes me feel like I'm watching a Vince McMahon produced diva type gimmick from way back in the 90s into the early 2000s, which I hated. I think women in professional wrestling should be treated the way they deserved, which is they are professional wrestlers. They don't need all this dumb shit. But that's what I feel like with her gimmick.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So next we go to Jeff Jarrett in ring. What struck me on this at first was he brought up Jerry Lawler. So I don't know. I don't know if that's allowed or is Jerry Lawler not under contract with WWE anymore or
I don't think there's nothing they could do about it because that was also part of his story, right?
yep.
And so this is the thing with this. Um, Claudio comes out and he tells, Jarrett that, you basically have to go through me to get through Moxley. And then he gives him this uppercut. And when he leaves the ring, he brings the mic with him. And even Tony Schiavone, I think it was, points out how he's leaving with a mic. So instead of being that surprised that Jeff Jarrett gets up and calls him out and say what the promo they cut on him, there's no surprise there because we knew something was going to happen. We knew Claudio wasn't leaving because he had the goddamn mic. And then of course we see what happened: Jeff Jarrett versus Claudio. If Jeff Jarrett wins, then he gets a title shot. So let's kind of chop this down. Question mark: is this a match you want to see?
Surprisingly, I think it's going to be a better match than what we anticipate. Um, Jeff has got fuck, 3, 4 decades of experience. 4 decades of no, he's got 5 decades of experience, and he's in phenomenal. If he's 57, he's in phenomenal shape. Of course, I think he's juicing, but whatever. All right. Um, I think the resurgence from the crowd is refreshing. I've never been a Jarrett fan. I've never been a Jarrett fan, whether he was Double J or whatever the hell he was. I hate him in the Four Horsemen. I hate him as a world champion in WCW. TNA, he was a joke because he owned the company, so he was top dog there. Jeff Jarrett was never one for me that was somebody that could carry the company. Now at this point, I don't want to say I'm at a 180, but you know what? I want to see Jeff be a transit champion for 3 weeks or whatever the hell it is. You know, I want him to get that last hoorah and then settle off to the sunset.
So I agree on some of the things that you said. I think that this will be a good match, but I also hope that they're both protected and Jeff, look, they're going to have to figure out a way for Jeff Jarrett to win in order to really go um to into the storyline, from start to finish. What I don't want to see is Jeff Jarrett pin Claudio. I think that Jeff Jarrett should win via disqualification
Yeah.
or now the R part, I don't think is going to happen. But I also think that if he did it this way, though, it would be great. That MJF steps in, attacks Jeff Jarrett, so Jarrett could get the win, so that he can face Mox. And whenever that match that happens between Mox and Jarrett, once again MJF tries to step in unsuccessfully though, because we know that Mox is not dropping the title to Jeff Jarrett. I just don't see that happening. But the reason why it's going to come out, the reason why MJF was doing this was because he wanted Jeff Jarrett to win that title because he thinks it's easier for him to get his title back by facing Jeff Jarrett other than facing Mox or anyone else. Don't think it's going to go that far. I don't, but I think that would be a great addition to the storyline that's already happening with MJF and Jeff Jarrett. But I definitely though don't want to see Claudio lose via pinfall. It needs to be a disqualification.
Yeah, I don't think you're too far off on that. Um, I don't really see Jeff winning the world title. I really don't. I don't see him beating Mox. I don't see Mox carrying the belt 6, 8 months from now. All right. Uh, I think now hold on. I think there's too many people that have got their contract signed that they're gonna be world champs. All right. Whether it's Edge or Adam Cope or whatever you want to call him. Um, I think Daniel Bryan is still in the mix. Yeah, I do.
No. I'm shaking my head at go ahead and finish and then I'll tell you why I shook my head.
Well, I think there's too many names in the mix, and I think MJF's always in the mix. And I think Jeff would be an easy one to take the title off of and still satisfy Jeff in his, I don't know, last request, I guess. You know,
Yeah. So this is my prediction of what's going to happen in that match between Jeff Jarrett and John Moxley. And it's actually going to protect Jeff Jarrett for taking that loss, considering that I think this is his final run. I think that when this match happens, we're going to see Christian cash in that contract during that match, and I think that we're going to see Christian. Christian's going to be the next title holder. I think that's how he's going to do it during that match. I do think that Christian is going to be a transitional champion, obviously, and that leading to I have no idea which storyline that's going to lead to. Now I do know that Luchasaurus is doing really well, so I'm expecting him to come back, and that could play a factor as well. Um, I think that we're going to see him turn back into a babyface pretty quickly, because if you notice that Perry has not been, featured on a show in quite some time. Rumor has it the reason why he's been written off of TV is because it's one of those things of if you're not seen, you're not remembered. I think that they're trying to get Perry's GOAT gimmick out of people's head because Perry is going to be coming back either at the same time or shortly after Luchasaurus, and we're going to see the reformation of Luchasaurus with Jungle Boy.
All right. I don't think that's a bad hypothesis, to be honest.
I think it needs to happen because it's, as much as I kind of cringed with the whole Jungle Boy gimmick, at the same time, Perry was able to pull it off. And as I keep on saying, I don't think Perry's as a heel or his run as a heel failed because he doesn't have talent. I think that it's been a little bit of a failure because Jack Perry is just a natural baby face. I don't think he can put off being a heel very well.
No, I think you're right. He'd have to do some pretty heinous stuff. But anyways, let's see. um, oh, then we got a video of Megan Bain, which for 30 seconds it was. I'm interested.
See, and this is the thing. Going back to the women's gauntlet match, again, I'm a huge Tony Storm guy, but I do agree that we've already seen this match, right? And I just think that having someone fresh like a Megan Bain to have won that gauntlet match and to be facing Mariah May, I would be that much more excited over that match versus another match between, her Mariah May and Tony Storm. And only because it's something fresh. We haven't seen it. So I wanted something fresh to happen. I hope that they do book Megan Bain, kind of like they booked Jade Cargill as this unstoppable machine, and that she does go after the title. And I hope they put the title on her.
Um, I would be down with this if Megan Bain showed up 3 weeks earlier, and they had her 2 out of 3 weeks on a match. But she was the dark horse in this one. I mean, really remembered her. Nobody. If they did, it was a vague memory. So
Yeah,
she
the last time she was on AEW, her last match on AEW Dynamite was back in 21.
right, and I
Oh,
had no, but I don't have recollection of yesterday. So
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
that.
Now, something and I was looking this up yesterday, and according to, because I was wondering, okay, was this just a one-off, or did she sign a contract? What's going on with this? According to Fightful Select, the whole time Megan Bain has been gone, she has still been under contract with AEW. So apparently she's, like I just said, she's been on a contract and they're just now bringing her back. I know that she's been on the independent scene some. Maybe they were wanting her to get more experience. Now they think that she's there, that they're bringing her back, but I hope they do something with her. I would love to see her beat Monet for the
Yeah,
title.
yes, I would too. All right. So, anyways, next we go to Swerve versus Air Fox. You know what? This is a good match. I was really surprised. Air Fox is a hell of a technician, and Swerve gets better every time you see him. To be honest, Um.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I wasn't surprised that this was a good match. I've always said that AR Fox, they book him horribly because I think that he should, if they don't think he's main event level, he's definitely at the very top of mid card level because this guy is good. Since day one, he's been good. So I don't know what the issue. Uh, I think part of it may be, and I don't know why the fans doesn't seem to connect with him as much. But this was definitely a good match, a really good match.
it was. It was. With Air Fox, he's the guy you want to make you look good in the ring. Because Air Fox can make anybody look good, and a guy, for his age, and he's not a spring chicken either. For his age, he gets around pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I don't understand though, Mark. Um, you know, the way they have booked he's kind of Mount Rushmore right now. Darby Allen. The way that they have booked Darby Allen, right? He's been booked really well in the company. They like this guy. I'm sorry, in my opinion, AR Fox is much better than Darby Allin.
He is, but with Darby Allen, they get that unexpected Jeff Hardy antics, you know, and that draws ratings, whether you like it or not. You
Oh,
know,
I agree.
I'm kind of old school. I want to see two guys lock up. You know, your Dean Malenkos, your Perry Saturns, your Eddie Guerreros, Chris Benoit's, Kurt Angles. I want to see them guys lock up. And because them are some damn good matches. But not everybody likes those kind of matches. They want to see that high flying stuff. And more power to you. That's just not my gig.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I agree with you said about Darby Allin. He does get that surprise. It is one of those things that, he's loved by the fans, especially the kids. It's the same thing with Orange Cassidy. A lot of people on these other podcasts I keep on cheating with you on, or cheating on you with, we've talked about this on there. They brought up Orange Cassidy. They've asked me, do I think that they're ever going to turn Orange Cassidy heel? And I went, no. It's kind of like the thing with, you know, John Cena. As much as we all want to see John Cena turn heel, John Cena makes, even with half the fans booing him, his product, his merch has always stayed way up there. At one time, it was consistently number one. The kids love him too much. They make too much money off of Cena, WWE I'm talking about, with him being a babyface a lot of time because of the kids. It's the same thing with uh, Orange Cassidy, and it's the same thing with Darby Allin. They sell merch off of him. The kids love these guys. That's why I don't think you're going to see a babyface in any of them anymore, or in their career anytime soon, at least. So I get why AR Fox isn't booked how I want him to book. But at the same time, Bork, just because they want to keep Darby Allin at that upper level, it doesn't mean that they still can't book AR Fox in that upper level too.
It's interesting because, to be honest, I don't think I've seen Darby Allen in 2, 3 weeks, and I haven't seen Orange Cassidy in 2, 3 weeks, and that's a rarity because these guys
So
are staples.
Orange Cassidy was legitimately hurt in one of the matches with the against Death Triangle, so he's out with the injury. And as I said a few minutes ago, Darby Allin, he's either still training or he's now attempting to climb Mount Rushmore. I mean, not Mount Rushmore,
Everest.
Mount Everest. Yeah.
I thought he already did that a few months back.
No, he broke his foot before that could happen.
Gotcha. All right. All right. So during the match with Air Fox, Ricochet comes out, and I think Prince Nana chased him off. I don't know, I blinked or something.
Yeah, he
Uh,
chased him off with a pipe.
okay. All right.
Darby Allin had the scissors.
Yep. So, anyways, uh, Swerve does a big coup de grace for the pin. Ricochet is. They show Ricochet on the screen. He's backstage with Prince Nana. He's got the scissors up to Prince Nana's neck, and basically saying, "I'm coming for you." Basically.
Yeah, I hated that. And I'll get into that more when we get to the main event and the shenanigans that happened after the main event.
Right. All right. So next we go to a recap versus Hobbs versus Moxley. Just a recap. Not much more you can go on that. Then we go to Learning Tree. I kind of yawned on this one. But Big Bill calls out Hobbs and pretty much says Hobbs can't beat him. And, Big Bill is legitimately a big guy. Hobbs versus him. He had Hobbs by a head and a half, in height, you know.
I think it was funny when they showed Hobbs and Big Bill face to face, or it was actually chest to face, right? And you're right, Hobbs is a big man, and I knew that Big Bill obviously has always been this really big guy, both in structures, his muscle size and in height. But man, when I seen those two standing face to face or chest to face like that, I was like, holy shit. And Big Bill's another one that they just have not. Both WWE and AEW has not booked him the way I think that he should be booked. I understand that he's not great on the mic. I get that. And he may not even be the best wrestler in the world, but at the same time, Big Bill can move in that ring a way that a big guy shouldn't be able to move.
Yeah,
Um,
for a
just
7 foot, he's probably the most agile 7 footer I've seen.
yeah, yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, he's kind of been booked, in that same level as Zack Ryder as far as win loss. Which means that as much as I would love to see Big Bill start winning matches, I don't want to start seeing him winning matches against Big Hobbs just because of the way Big Bill has been booked. He should not beat Hobbs. I'm not saying that this should be a squash match by any means. This should be a very difficult match for Hobbs because of the size. But Hobbs, I hope, comes over. He wins the match.
I don't unless there's cheating. I don't see Hobbs losing. I think they're kind of slow building Hobbs to be top guy. You know, I think they've kind of put Kyle Fletcher on the back burner and are focusing on Hobbs a little bit more than Fletcher because Fletcher's not as hot as he was 2 months ago. Which is a shame because Fletcher is great. Um, so, anyways, he calls out Hobbs. I think they're going to meet Saturday night.
Yeah, now it's important to say that they didn't officially say that they're going to meet for a match Saturday night. It was left as Big Bill saying, "I'm coming look for you Saturday night." And Hobbs then went. They did a video of Hobbs saying, "I'm not hard to find. I'll be here." They didn't officially say it was going to be a match, but we skipped over an important part. Jericho, when he was cutting his promo, and Big Bill was talking about, from, it's through loss that you learn, blah, blah, blah. And you can tell Jericho get aggravated. He's had enough of the shit. I was really hoping that Jericho was somehow going to turn on Big Bill or something. But we're starting to see little, wrinkles in,
Foundation.
was that?
Cracks in the foundation.
Yeah, basically. So I think that this group is going to eventually break up here soon. Thank goodness, because this is one of Jericho's factions that I just don't like. But I tell you, there's nothing more than what I wanted. There's nothing more I wanted to see when I seen Jericho getting annoyed with Big Bill. Then Jericho, if I look at him and say, "You've made the list." I know he couldn't do it, obviously, because that's a WWE thing, but that would have been fucking just. I think that could have been the biggest pop of the night if Jericho said that because it would have been so unexpected.
Yep, it would have. So, all right. So next we go to MJF to the ring. Wants an apology from Jeff Jarrett. Being Jeff Jarrett, basically. Um, let's see. And then he goes on insulting Jeff, pretty much. Uh, but he interrupted a match with Hangman Adam Page. And Adam Page came to the ring and pretty much said, "Get out of my ring." And MJF kind of backed off. Uh, you know what? I don't know what's changed, but 2 years ago, I think MJF would have took a shot at him.
Yeah, well, they're trying to, and we'll talk about this. Adam Page is being booked as this crazy, angry man that no one wants to piss off.
Right.
And I think they really started pushing that after that cage match that he had with no the with the on the pay-per-view. He had the cage match against we just talked about him
Daniel,
with
or,
Prince Nanas guy.
oh, Swerve.
Yeah, Swerve. Man, fuck. Yeah, with Swerve. Ever since that match, they've really pushed how violent this man could be. And obviously we seen, the match against an unknown guy who apparently Tony Schiavone was talking about a couple of people. I think his dad, somebody's big deal. But this was a squash match. But what's important is what happened after the match, and I'll let you take it.
Yeah, after the match, the Fallen Angel came out and he pretty much said, "I don't want to fight. I only wanted to help you." Blah blah. Um, but you win. Because of the injury to my neck, doctors are saying I should never wrestle again. So you had my last match.
Yeah. And so this is what I did. So he walked off, and there's this look on Paige's face like he felt bad. He felt guilty. I hated it. And the reason why I hated it is because of what I just said. They've been booking him as this non apologetic, extremely violent guy that if you got in his way or you crossed him, he is going to hurt you. Now, all of a sudden, and I get they pushed that they were friends, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't want to start seeing Hangman Adam Page with feelings because the last time he was booked as a guy with feelings, as a baby face, the fans hated him. The fans are really starting to get back behind Hangman Adam Page because of this character. Why the fuck would you want to change it? You know what I was hoping was going to happen between Christopher Daniels and Adam Page during this segment? Adam Page just clotheslining the shit out of Christopher Daniels, taking the mic and telling him to shut the fuck up and stop whining, and he walk away. That's what I wanted to happen. Instead, it looks like we're going to get a guy who's being finally booked where he should be booked with feelings.
I don't think so.
You didn't get that out of there. You didn't get that this is where they're going after that segment.
I saw it, but I don't think that's. I hope that's not where they're going to go with it. But anyways, so next we got Monet interview, global champion, bully for Monet. Still not interested. Harley Cameron comes out, challenges Monet. You know what? I love Harley. Harley is growing on me something fierce. She's not bad in the ring, but her promos are getting there to be maybe not legendary, but definitely memorable. Um, she's a breath of fresh air when she comes out and does an interview.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyways, Monet says, "Well, you haven't won a match yet, so no." All right, I don't think that's the end of this story.
No, and two things out of this. One, I disagree with you about Monet. I think that I have started seeing her get better. That match against Starlander, it
That
was phenomenal. Was that
Statlander.
Statlander? That's it, Statlander. It was absolutely great, and I think that every time I have seen her since then, I'm starting to see her get better and better and better. Now, what I didn't realize was that Jackie has, or Harley Quinn. I mean, I didn't realize that she has not won a match in Dynamite at all.
He hasn't.
Yeah, I never realized that. So I agree that this isn't the end of it, but at the same time, how are they going to justify giving Harley a match against Monet? They have to start booking her to start winning some matches.
And I think they will sooner or later. I think she cuts a hell of a promo. I think she's a good worker. You know, I don't know what she's missing that they can't elevate her. I really don't. And having a match against Monet might be the catalyst to elevate her.
Maybe, and you know what? Here's the thing, and I want to change what you said now that you said that about her needing to be booked to start getting wins to justify her getting a match with Monet. That's not necessarily true. And nothing would be better if the way they went with this is she just annoyed Monet so much that Monet said, you know what? I'm going to kick your ass and I'll put my title up. And Harley is the one that actually beats her. That would be great.
It would, but it's not going to happen. But it would.
I know because that would be Monet's. Can you believe that Monet's undefeated in singles action?
Yeah. You know, I'm still not excited. Yeah, she's gotten better. I just never been a fan. Just never been a fan. Whether she's WWE, in Japan, just not my cup of tea. You know,
Yeah.
she's she's a great promo girl. I just think she believes her own hype. You know, and you know what? Maybe that's what sells her character. Great. You know,
Well, I was just about to say that. Look, Ric Flair. He believes his own hype. Throughout the years, the one thing that we've heard about Ric Flair was Ric Flair. This wasn't a character. This was Ric Flair, and this is what made him the legend that he is. So if Monet actually, if this is actually Monet, then I think that she's going to continuously get better. Then
and you know what? In 10, 15 years when she's done, you know what? I'll talk differently about her. You know, I might talk to her about at a Ric Flair, not a Ric Flair level, but uh to a degree, I guess. You know,
you know what, Mark? 10, 15 years from now, I'd be surprised if your old ass can even remember anything.
I'm lucky at everything now. But you know, it's like Nick Bockwinkel. I hated Nick Bockwinkel back in the day. Absolutely despised him. Looking back, Nick Bockwinkel was a hell of a goddamn worker and just a hell of a performer. You know, but I couldn't admire it at the time. So maybe I just
Right.
can't admire her at this time.
Yeah.
So all right. So next, oh, I wrote Harley Rocks, by the way.
Of
Uh,
course you did.
Jamie Hayter versus Julia Hart. This is a damn good match too. Julia reminded me of Double A Iron Anderson in some aspects, and the way she wrestled last night.
Yeah, I don't see it, but okay.
Go back and watch it.
Yeah. So the match, well, I do agree that I really like this match. The one thing I didn't like was the end when Jamie Hayter was talking about how she was basically giving Julia Hart flowers, giving her approval, calling her a bad bitch. I
Yep.
didn't like it, and I'll tell you why. I think that this promo was cut way too soon because they each have two wins over each other or one win over each other. I think that this promo should have been cut at the end of their rubber match if Hayter actually beat Julia Hart. No, that's when she should have cut this promo. Um, because I don't know what's going to happen. Now that Malachi Black is gone, and now that pretty much the other two I think are going to be tag teams, and there's Julia Hart. I don't know if she's being included. I don't know if they're going to come out. I heard that they are working on actually renaming their group together. It'll be those three, but we'll see. And we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the whole thing with Buddy Matthews, and Brody once we get into the main event.
Okay. So a couple things in this match. There's a couple hard German suplexes that Hayter gave to Julia.
Julia Hart.
Yeah, there were a couple hard ones. Uh, I think Julia gave Hayter a spine buster, or was it Hayter that gave Julia a spine? I don't know. I can't remember who gave who a spine
I think
buster,
it
but
was Julia.
it,
No,
it
no, it was Hater.
yeah, it was flawless. It was beautiful. Yeah, it was Hayter because I was like, damn it, I just said Julia looks like or Double A, and Hayter throws a freaking spine buster, but it was beautiful. Um, and then the JBL clothesline from hell for the pin. I was like, holy shit, that was a hell of a clothesline.
Yeah, and I don't hate that Hater beat Julia Hart because that means that we will see that rubber match, and I think these two just jive really well together in the ring.
Yeah, I wrote I'd look forward to the rubber match. I
Yep.
really do. And I'm not one that wants to see, you know, the same match 2 weeks in a row, but I like both matches and I'm looking forward to the rubber match. And
Yep.
you'll probably Australia maybe as a dark match. I don't know. Uh let's see. Next you go to Hobbs pretty much saying I accept your challenge, Big Bill. I'm not hard to find. Then you go to Swerve, ranting about wanting Ricochet maybe faster than 2 weeks from now. So probably Saturday or next Wednesday, you'll see some sort of interaction between these two. Then we go for a video of House of Black on their own without Malachi. And that's pretty much saying we're going to light some asses up. So Julia Hart's going to be included in with Buddy and Brody. Um, and I think they're gearing them up for maybe a possible run for, the next level or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I know that WWE just copyrighted Hounds from Hell. So I have a feeling that's going to be their name. But this is the thing, and help me remember this. That name, Hounds from Hell, wasn't that what was used to describe the Shield?
Something similar if it wasn't that. Yeah, it was. It might have been that or something very close to that.
I thought.
So, all right. So next we go to the main event: Adam Cope versus Pac.
God damn, call him Copeland. Even Mox says Copeland. Because Cope is so fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I wrote in the match he seemed a bit edgy. I
You're
could
fired.
hit me. I was like, oh, he's kind of edgy tonight. I'm like, oh god, I got to use that. So, again, a good match. I think Adam looks good if he's got a plate and 7 or 9 screws in his leg. That can really hinder a guy. But yeah, he moved pretty good. He looked kind of winded a few times, and he looks really old for his age.
Yeah. So, the big takeaway from this match was after the match, and it was Copeland that got the win. Um, you know, he got jumped by some of the Death Rider guys after the match. Um, now, look, I was hoping that we was going to see the lights go out and that we were going to see Buddy Matthews and Brody come in to save Edge. And the reason why I had that thought process was because of that promo that Edge cut with those two guys. I don't look there. There's very few guys that I think that they could put with these two or these three with Julia Hart. And they actually still have that dark aura about them. Edge is one of those guys that they could do this with. So I
Yeah,
was really hope was that
I think it would come across to Judgment Day,
maybe, maybe,
but I
but
like
nonetheless, I was hoping that that was going to happen. Instead, what we got was a
Jay White.
Jay White come in. The numbers were still too great. But then we went to what we seen backstage with Mox and the rest of the guys, and we seen one of FTR guys, tied up in a chair. And supposedly it was the Rock and Roll Express that was on the ground. One of them had the bag over their head, and then they did that chair shot. Again, I didn't like it. And it's the same reason, it's because of the same reason I didn't like the whole thing with Prince Nana and Ricochet. So now you're telling me that these crimes can start being committed, um, and that's just okay. And I know it's wrestling. I know that the whole suspending our disbelief thing, but look how many times they have had people play fake police officers because of things that were done, right? Not to mention, the Death Riders are now using this paper bag thing so many times that's not shocking anymore. Is, and it's lost its effect on people, in my opinion. The first time they did it, we were like, holy shit, what the fuck? They're trying to kill Brian Daniels or Daniel Bryan. It just doesn't have that effect anymore. Then there's my question. AEW was promoting the Rock and Roll Express being on Dynamite last night. Was that really the Rock and Roll Express on the ground? I mean, it didn't do what it was supposed to do, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion.
Well, I'm over the Death Riders to begin with. You know, individually, Claudio's great. Pac is awesome. Wheeler, he's your fall guy, and Moxley, not my cup of tea. I haven't enjoyed Moxley ever really, to be honest. I had a brief, I don't know, enlightenment when he was taking on Brock Lesnar just because I thought it'd be a decent match, and I was let down on that. But Moxley, Dean Ambrose just does nothing for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it would be different if there was a clear direction they were going with the storyline, but they're all over the place.
Yep.
What's the payoff for them? Because they're always supposed to be the payoff for the face, right? So to me, it's what's the payoff, and who exactly is going to get that payoff,
Right, because it changes weekly.
right? So, and I think because of the lack of direction they're going, then it's not doing what it's supposed to. I look, and people may disagree with me, but it seems like they're trying to do a hokey version of the NWO, where the NWO was attacking people. But back then that was edgy. It just doesn't have the same effect today, and it doesn't. This just doesn't look like something that just organically came together, where it was just that great. I'm done with it. I don't think that there's anything that they can do for myself. Other people may love it. Cool. Not gonna say that you shouldn't. I'm not gonna shit on you for liking it. But for myself, I just don't think that there's anything that they can do to save it, to make me say, holy shit, this is something that I want to watch.
You know what they need back? William Regal. He tied that group together.
That won't happen.
No, I happened, but William Regal really tied that group together. You know,
I
having them out there, I think, in my opinion, gave them some legitimacy and elevated them. And then if he would have had Pac with them at the time, but he was with Death Triangle, that would have made it even sweeter.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? I think something as well that really made them, for you and I, lose interest in them was the fucking, I mean, just such a dumb name, the Death Riders.
Absolutely. Stick
You
with the
know,
beat.
yeah, for me, that's like name Death Riders is something I expect to see if I'm walking through a bookstore and I see this cheesy comic book that's called Death Riders.
I'm
You know,
thinking of a biker group myself, but whatever.
but yeah, I don't like it. And again, I don't think there's anything they could do to save it, as far as I'm concerned, for my own entertainment. But
I
whatever, I guess. I hope that they figure something out with this, though, because it needs, at some point, it has to move on to something else.
right, right. Well, it's gonna cave in on itself eventually. So
Yep, we'll see.
the I think the only one that really benefited out of this is at this point is the girl.
Oh, Maria,
Yeah,
I don't know, Mark, because I think that she just came in on her own as a singles wrestler because of her background in the UFC. I think that as a single, she still would have um moved up in the wrestling world as far as AEW goes. I think that she probably would have been a bigger star with WWE, but I still think that she could have came in and we bought her being a badass. I mean, shit, can you imagine a match between her and Megan Bine, two big powerhouses?
right. But before this, she was a glorified jobber. She'd win some matches, she'd lose more matches. You know,
Yeah,
her
yeah.
background ability, she should be a world champion.
I
Not,
agree.
so I think she's the one that's really benefited out of this group. I don't think Pac adds to the group, but I don't think it benefits him.
Yeah.
Uh, Wheeler Yuta, yeah, it benefits him, but Claudio, Moxley, it really doesn't benefit them.
Yeah, and when it comes to Pac, I agree with you. I think Pac just, as far as aesthetics, looked much better with the Death Triangle
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna sit there and say different. So,
because their styles matched each other. Their styles complemented each other.
but it's that Smash Mouth.
Yeah,
But Pac can go any which way. He can do technical. He can do aerial. He can do Smash Mouth. I mean, he's probably one of the most versatile guys currently out there on any market.
yeah. Now look, I wouldn't hate it if we seen Pac turn on John Moxley and then take that title away from John Moxley.
I wouldn't hate it either. I wouldn't hate it either because he'd school Moxley.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, guys, that is your recap for Wednesday Night Dynamite. A grade wise, I give it a B minus minus.
I gotta go with a solid B. I want to tip on B plus, but I gotta go solid B. I like the way they opened it with Kenny and Will. I love that. Julia and Hayter, great match. Air Fox, great match. Like I said, off air, I liked it better than Raw, to be honest.
Yeah, guys, and this is why I'm bringing in Bob Cook because Raw was a much better product than
Yes.
huh?
Performance, no.
Wait, say it again.
Production wise, yes. Performance wise, no.
No, I disagree. And then there's just so much energy right now, amongst the fans of WWE. Yeah, and look, as, as we seen during COVID, fans absolutely elevate professional wrestling. And the fans just, I mean, we heard some pops, but there were some times that they were kind of silent. So, and look, the Death Riders is always going to bring, for myself, the show down. That's why I gave them a B minus instead of a B.
Now, how much of a pop you can get when you're only filling 3 to 4 thousand arena, or not even arena, a 3 to 4 thousand popcorn stand? You know.
You'd be surprised if you have a show that is just that damn good. 3,000 people can make a lot of noise. It can bring some energy.
Okay. All right. All right. So
But yeah, anyway, guys, like I said, that was the recap of Dynamite. I gave it a B minus minus. Mark, who I just don't know, gave it a B and thought it was, better than Raw, but whatever. It's his perspective, I guess. He sucks, but it's just his perspective. But anyway, man, you got anything for us?
no, I'm good, man. Just ring the damn bell.
Ring the damn bell, everybody, and we will see you guys on Saturday to do the recap of SmackDown. What you got?
Tell your friends we need that 30-inch subscription.
Hey guys, please don't forget to subscribe. It is free. I have some great things I'm working on that I think everyone will enjoy. But again, we will see you guys Friday night. Ring the damn bell.
No, no, we won't see him Friday night.
We'll see you Saturday night.
There you go.